How are you looking there? You've got a stick in his face. I'm going to try and move just so we get a better view of that. Just maybe. That ought to do the trick. There we go. Africa's strongest spotted cat, not necessarily the largest, or tallest rather, although I would imagine that this boy weighs a lot more than a cheetah. Not largest cat, but largest spotted. And, well, as you can see, a number of spots on the face, but a leopard actually doesn't have spots. If you look down below his shoulder, the spots are actually rosettes. They form rings. Mostly a magnificent animal, this. Most of the hindquarters have been eaten, so it's at least a day old. It could very well be that he's been feeding on it himself. He caught it himself, tucked it under that bush over there, went off to find some water, or only he knows what he's been doing. It's a speculation, of course, what this could all be about. And coming back to finish it off. Wondering if Liz is watching, because Liz loves this leopard. Oops. I do too. You can see those masseter muscles, those jaw muscles, as he's chewing between his ear and his mouth. Quite a distinguishing feature of a big male leopard is very heavy jowls, and of course this dewlap, this very heavy skin under the neck, somewhat of an indication of age. I can't really remember how old he is. I've got to brush up on my leopard lore, and I'm sure a lot of you out there know. Of course, he's got his own Facebook page. So, questions at wildearth.tv if you have any questions. Or you can send us a question through Twitter, #SafariLive. I'm wondering if we've got the Brush College School with us today. Ellen, you with us? Those beautiful eyes. Yeah, something behind us. So a little birdie just whispering in my ear that he was born around 2005, so he's going to be going on 10 years old, which puts him in his prime. This is the father of, I'd say the father of Karula's last 2 litters, if I'm not mistaken. The first 2 litters of Karula, the father was a wonderful leopard named Yambilo Jordan. Although I have to be honest, the Yambilo Jordan very seldom allowed us to follow him like this. I guess I ought to call it in. Stations 1 Madoda Ingwe and Gallagher shortcut, just off of the cut line. Now you see, this is all about timing. And in the last few days when we've been really getting a little bit desperate, I guess in some sense, but also driving around, trying to find animals. Sometimes you get very, very lucky and you manage to find them on the road. But if we had been 5 seconds later, we would have missed him. He didn't leave the road because we were on the road. He left the road because he was on a beeline straight for this carcass. Tends to make me believe that it was his, rather than he picked up the scent. The behavior was a determined straight line from where he left the road coming straight here. He knows every square inch of his territory, so he knows exactly where it was that he left it. He didn't need to scent it out. He's got something stuck in his teeth or his tongue there. He's got maybe some fur, or there we go, he got rid of it. Sometimes a piece of bone or something gets stuck on the palate. That's something stuck on his tongue. It's like a piece of skin or... Are you picking up the sound?
Mm-hmm.
Go. Riley and Chris both sending a question on Twitter asking me what's the largest prey I've ever seen a leopard take. You won't believe it, but baby giraffe. And unfortunately I didn't see him take it. This was a very big leopard, probably about the same size as Mvula. It was up in East Africa in a game reserve known as the Selous Game Reserve, named after Frederick Courtney Selous. And I was doing overnight walking trails, and on our first morning actually, we started the morning following a pack of 5 dogs on the hunt, and then we followed them for a while when they went to meet up with the pups. And then when we left the dogs, we crossed over a little ridge and dropped down into a little drainage, not really a drainage line, but a floodplain area, and there was a giraffe, a baby giraffe about 20 feet up a tree in what is known as Terminalia spinosa, the spiny terminalia, or the spiny cluster leaf. And I couldn't believe it. And as we were approaching, the leopard saw us, and being on foot, and being a very remote area, he obviously didn't like humans. He jumped down and disappeared. And later on, when we came back past there was a young female in the tree eating on the carcass. And while we were standing watching her, there was a lioness coming up the floodplain. It was one of the most incredible walks I've ever done. That whole weekend, it was a 3-night, 4-day walking safari. We slept in a little, what we call a fly camp, under a grove of jackalberry trees. But anyways, baby zebra, I've got a leopard at home that has taken baby zebra into marula trees, and young wildebeest. I've known leopard to take young wildebeest. Then again, there's also perhaps even more of a fight than a young wildebeest or a young zebra, or even, for that matter, a young giraffe. One of the most impressive, not necessarily biggest, but one of the most impressive. And I've seen it on numerous occasions with a couple of different leopards. One was a leopard by the name of... I'll think of it. It's just slipped my tongue. Mbombi, his name was. Mbombi. He was born in Londolozi I knew him when he was 11 years old, and that was in 1996. So he was probably born around 1995. He was a professional warthog hunter. And I saw him take out some very, very big warthog boars. And... well, even a medium-sized warthog is far more of a fight than a baby giraffe or a baby zebra. And then there was a leopard down in the Sabi Sand, lower Sabi Sand, and down on the Sabi River. Once again, loved warthog. Sometimes leopard that specialize in warthog learn that they can outweight them in the termite mound, and if they lie on top of the termite mound, eventually the warthogs get so stressed out that they try and make a dash for it, and of course invariably the leopard gets one, because they become very adept at picking the right spot to be able to do so. Of course, it's not every time. There have to be times when they miss. But anyways, this particular leopard down on the Sabi River was in the time before the Sabi Sand was incorporated into Kruger, and we used to have, it was just a little cattle fence. It wasn't very much of a fence along the edge of the Sabi River between the Sabi Sands and the Kruger Park. And we used to cross a stile over the fence to go and watch hippo on the river. And there was a warthog carcass down there. And I suppose being young, and in the old days we did some silly things, but we decided we were going to take the carcass onto our side of the fence so that when he came back for it, we'd be able to watch him. But anyways, it was such a big warthog, it took two of us to try and carry it, or drag it. We couldn't carry it. What's he on there now? A foot. The hoof sticking out of his mouth. He's not going to digest hair and bone, and the hoof as well, which is just like the horn. It's just pure keratin. All of the cats don't digest hair and bone, so of course all of that is going to come out in his dung. Go. A Twitter question from M. Waite came in, wanting to know what sort of hunting range or what sort of area he would cover in his hunting. Well, it would all be within his territory. I doubt whether he would hunt outside his territory. My guess is for a big male leopard in this part of the world, around about 1,000 hectares, call it just over 2,000 acres, 2.2. I wish I could just move that one piece of grass blowing in front of his eyes when he looks at us.